Welcome, Fictional Heroism, a show that I have slightly hijacked semi-forcibly from Rock.
I asked you to do this.
You're right.
Well, that's why he said semi-forcibly.
So, yeah, I will be running a one-shot, and when I say one-shot, I mean this is all in one sitting over the course of 4 to 5 hours, potentially. However long it takes. It should be quick. I tend to be able to knock these things out pretty quickly. So how about let's meet our favorite players. Who would like to start?
I'll go first. Hi everyone, it's me, yet again, Eric. I'm, jazzed to be playing on this one-shot. We do have 2 guests, a little bit of a spoiler. Not to take that away from you, Lizard. I will be playing a new playbook that the Monster of the Week people themselves asked if anyone was curious to playtest. It is called the Spooktacular, and it is, in essence, a former circus person, or current circus person. It's got some really interesting options, and I'm really interested to see where this character is going to go. I've kind of half played it out because part of the fun is seeing a character organically grow. To that end, I will be playing Alistair Renard, a bit of a ne'er-do-well young man, around 22 to 25, with a thin complexion, kind of a pointed continent, and continents. He tends to also keep his eyes closed a little bit, and he smiles very easily. And now that I've yammered on, let me pass the buck to somebody else.
How about one of our guests does it, so we can alternate between them? Viv, are you?
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Tiffany. I'm going to be playing Viv Piper, the expert. First time playing Monster of the Week, so this is going to be exciting and fun. I was really grateful that they brought me on. Basically, I'm playing a barista who kind of stumbled into the whole fighting monsters thing and is kind of figuring her way around all of this. Has had a brief introduction to it from her friend Alistair. But we'll definitely learn more, I think, as she goes along in the story.
Hey folks, it's Sean, your forever DM. Not DMing. For this game, you know.
False advertising! You're not a forever DM, you're actually playing a character.
I'm playing Wesley Booker, the Spooky, a indie video game artist who managed to somehow manifest the ghostly, forlorn lover antagonist of a game that he worked on as his magical power. It's going to be very interesting playing this character because I've used him before as a monstrous. We almost did this as a pararomantic, but it didn't work for what I wanted.
Alright, so that leaves Peaches.
Hi, my name is Vanessa. I am on LGBT and Paradigm Academy. I use she, her pronouns, and I'll be playing Peaches Amandine, who is a searcher from a rom-com. So she is quite literally looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah, like a completely different universe.
Yes, run by a semi-mad god.
Or lizard.
Yeah. So her experience with the paranormal is generally rom-com kind of stuff, like time slows down when you look at someone. And just things like that. So it'll be fun.
Well, that's an interesting take on it, the whole rom-com trope stuff as mildly supernatural phenomena and effects.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That is really cool.
Thank you. I worked very hard on that.
I can also see someone becoming like a spell slinger and using spells to the effect of that way kind of thing. That would be kind of hilarious. So, friends and family of Dungeons and Pop, you know our cast of characters for this game. Lizard, shall we get started?
So, you've all fallen asleep peacefully in your beds. when suddenly you're dreaming your wonderful dreams, and you all hear circus music, and you see various figures standing in some fog. What do you do?
Actually, Lizard, I do have a start of mystery.
Oh yes, but roll that. This is technically prologue, but roll it.
Okay, that is a 9.
That is, yeah. Oops, I messed up. I don't have my dice.
Okay, so your move is?
I see premonitions at the start of each mystery. Roll weird. On a 10 plus, you get a detail. Well, not to go too far into the rules, but I got a mixed success, so I get clouded images of something bad that is yet to happen. Mark experience if you stop it.
You see pigs wandering the town. Their eyes look up with a almost human intelligence. You can hear terrible machinery, and you can feel a bloodline snuffed out.
Oh no.
It's like, that's
That can't be good.
you find. So you all are in some unknown place with circus music in the distance, and some figures around. What do you all do?
How familiar is the circus music?
You know it well.
Do I? Okay. Well, I am going to look around. You said it was a kind of a gray, cloudy area, but I hear the music.
Yes. Are you going to approach the music?
I will go in the general direction of the music if I notice it's going louder in a certain direction, yeah.
Well, it's very clear that there is. You see as one of the figures starts to walk off. Sorry, what do the rest of you do?
I think.
Leslie,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that Vivian would probably look around and maybe pinch herself to see if she's dreaming, and if that doesn't snap her out of it, just kind of slowly start walking towards the noise, just because she did have some experience with a freak show back in her day.
Yeah, the music is fairly familiar to you, but you don't know the notes by heart.
But it makes my blood sing.
I'm going to follow after Viv and just be like, is this normal for here?
I don't think so. Kind of unique. It's first time for me in a while.
In a while. So like this has happened before then.
I mean, a long time ago, when I got out of high school, kind of, vaguely remember this song, but I don't know. It's been a long time since the circus came to town.
Okay.
You vaguely remember this music? You wound me, Viv.
Oh god, I'm loving this character already, Eric.
Wesley's I feel like he's trailing behind and he's nervously just trying to block out the music.
Alistair just glares at you over his shoulder. Wrong circus.
I'm not exactly trying to make sure it sounds like the right circus, sir. I am hoping for one that isn't a terrible
You think...
everyday thing in my life.
Oh, Wesley.
I will have you know there was nothing wrong with the show I traveled with. Although...
Oh, not wrong with the show.
Alistair stops at that as like, although I am most curious, he says as he kicks kind of one foot out and spins on the other kind of dramatically. What we're all doing here, he says as he motions to them in a circle.
Easy.
Last I remember, I was asleep. And I know for a fact none of you were asleep with me.
That's when you...
I've been practicing lucid dreaming, so I just thought it was something like that. My bad.
You then sort of come across the opening to a tent. Someone then emerges from it. A tall black figure in an even taller top hat. The only thing you can make out are his bright white his bright white teeth that don't seem to fit right between his pursed red lips, and a pair of bestial eyes that definitely do not belong on a human face. Hello, welcome to the show.
Can I read a bad situation?
Yes.
Thank you. I would also like to use one of my moves.
Paying it backwards?
Uh-huh.
That bad, huh?
Right out the gate.
The description alone is making my neck hair stand on end. I can't help it. For the listeners, if this doesn't sound familiar, that's because it is part of the playtest character that I am trying out. Paying it backwards allows me to get advantage on a roll, which means I roll 3d6, and I take the two highest. It's a mechanic we've actually done in Breaking Point before, that I picked up from a different podcast. So it's interesting to actually see that in a soon-to-be official, well, it is official from its Monster of the Week, Evil Hat Productions. So it's interesting to actually see that. The opposite end of it is that this gives Lizard a hold that he can impose disadvantage on one of us, which is the same mechanic, but I choose the two lowest of the three. Let's see. Read a bad situation is sharp. Okay, so I rolled a 5, a 3, and a 2. So I don't get anything, so I have an 8.
Alright. So that gives you one hold. What's your best way in? What's your best way out? Are there any changes you haven't noticed? And what's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerability? What's the best way to protect the victims?
What's the biggest threat?
There isn't anything immediately threatening. Although you do hear a cage door swinging in the distance.
Mm.
I can see you've already noticed my issue. The issue I've run into, my dear friend.
Yeah, I had an inkling that this ringmaster was familiar to Alistair.
You always knew that the show was a little more live than your usual circus.
Well, all things considered, I would have assumed so.
So,
Why, old friend, have you gathered us here is the question.
oh, nothing really. Just picked up a new act. He's quite the sight, really. Shame he clawed his way out of the cage and looks like he got away. Would you all be so Now, there are a few options. You can wander these nightmares for a good long while, or you can help me and go back to sleep. Which will it be, my friends?
Not exactly a choice you've given us here, old friend.
Yeah, he sort of cocks his head. You literally 180 degrees. You hear his neck snap.
Ah!
Hurt my neck a little.
Wesley stumbles back.
Since you're up to your old tricks, I'll simply go along instead of having to play your game and wander the dreamlands until I finally acquiesce. However, I will not speak for the rest of this little group.
It's we're just a bit north of hell, if that gives you any idea of where we are right now.
I would think that Vivian kind of wrinkles her nose and just I don't really want to do this, but if you're going in there, I'm not going to let you fight alone.
Viv, I always could count on you to watch my back. And he just kind of gives you this wide, foxy grin.
She would just kind of nod her head and just say, yeah, I gotcha.
Are we fighting? I just thought we had to find an animal.
You hear his head snap. His head completes the rotation, cracking all the way. It's like,
So what is his face like now chin up and eyes down?
no, it's right back up. 108. He finished 180 is.
He did a 360.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I just wasn't sure if it was just his face rotating or if he was doing an owl impersonation.
It's like, he's doing a crooked man impersonation, if we're being perfectly honest.
I don't get the reference, but for the sake of time.
Yeah. It's like, well, it's like, and what about you, meek Wesley?
If it gets me the hell out of here, yes.
Great. Now, why don't you get to your seats? He says, opening the tent door. You can see a bright orange light and what appears to be things swinging and moving in various ways.
Alistair will lean towards Peaches and whisper gently, "My dear, in the life of the traveling entertainment show, things are rarely as they appear. My dear old friend has summoned us here to reprocure something that had gotten loose.
Yeah.
If we can trap it, all the better, but it would be wise to go in thinking that there will be an altercation. And
Right, it's like that time I found Viv's cat. I knew that there was a chance that it would scratch me, but it was the right thing to do.
And I was so glad you brought Nyx back to me.
this is a bit more than a cat up a tree. And we shouldn't tarry much longer, I'm afraid." And with that, Alistair just kind of turns, does a flourish with his hand, and bows as he walks backward into the opening of the tent, leading the others through.
So we have all our equipment, right?
You have. It's like you don't have anything on you at the moment.
And Wesley is going to check himself over and goes, "Ah, fuck, I forgot my shotgun.
Do you have your ticket?
Can I check to see if I do have a ticket?"
You do. Yeah, it's not a great. It doesn't. Yeah, the ticket doesn't feel right in your hand. It's like it's been printed on, well, broken dreams.
He looks at it and goes, "This feels like my career."
Oh, shit.
That's more. You and an entire generation, kid. Alright, let's hurry along. I need him. So I'll need him back soon. And poor Beth.
Wesley takes a deep breath, sighs, and walks in.
So I take it the rest of you will walk in? Will step in?
Yep, I'll be following behind Alistair.
I'll be following behind Viv.
Yeah, as you all step in, you fall into a meat grinder and wake up. You all wake up in your own beds with an unshakable amount of fear.
That man is going definitely. I just kind of pound my mattress with my fists and lay back in bed, wiping my hand over my face.
Wesley wakes up and immediately texts Viv to make sure they're okay.
I think Viv would wake up and kind of be a little startled and go and splash some cold water on her face. And then grab her phone and just reply back like, "Yeah, I'm good. Kind of had a really bad dream. You good?"
Like, he would text like, yeah, same. There was a crooked man? ? And
And I think she would reply back, "Kind of sounds very similar to my dream." And then maybe ask if they wanted to talk about it over coffee the next day.
You would reply back, "That sounds like a plan."
And honestly, I think Viv would probably reach out to Alistair and Peaches and just check in and say, "Hey, can't sleep, you good? What's up?
You up?
You up? Need to talk."
Yeah, I think Peaches wakes up, kind of like scared and confused, but immediately starts like journaling about the dream. And then when she gets
Always
her
a good
text,
idea.
yeah. And then when she gets your message, she's just like, yeah, I just had the weirdest dream. I'm surprised you're up too.
Like, creepy, crooked man?
Yeah,
Want to talk about it over coffee tomorrow?
I would love to.
I will note that it is morning.
Oh, it is. Okay, sorry.
Even better.
You've all woken up. You've woken up about an hour earlier or so, more or less.
Well, then
Okay.
coffee later.
Then meet me at Deja Brew.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
Alistair 2 texts back. The text is thus: Viv, darling, we need to speak.
And she's like, I have a group party meeting at the coffee shop.
I shall be there with bells on. And then a little emoji of bells.
And then I think that Viv would probably get ready and head there a little early to open the shop and to get coffee going for her friends.
Yeah, there's definitely a shower in Alistair's future.
So, do you all arrive at the coffee shop?
Well, yes.
Or unless you have anything else to do.
Nah, I said my piece.
I will say Wesley arrives with a trumpet case.
I'm afraid to ask.
There's no trumpet in it.
That's what I thought.
I was like, I don't know if Viv would ask.
I'm not afraid. Why do you have a trumpet case?
It's the easiest way to bring around his shotgun.
Okay.
I had a feeling when he asked about the shotgun during the dream sequence and he mentioned a trombone case, I'm like, aha!
He's not taking chances.
I mean, that's fair and valid. Not after that creepy-ass dream.
I think Viv would probably be behind the counter making drinks. I would assume she'd probably know their drinks and getting them all fixed up and directing them to a table to sit down at. It's like, guys, doing okay?
Yeah, Alistair's gonna roll up in a particularly beaten up looking dual cab pickup with just a crap ton of stuff in the back. Like he's going on a camping trip.
Roll sharp real quick, Alistair.
Sure. 7.
That's enough. You managed to. It's like as you sort of like get into your pickup, you notice that that your newspaper that appears to have somehow made it from the mailbox to next to you on the pickup.
Ah, old friend, what message are you trying to send?
It appears that the front page story talks about a ritual, some sort of like satanic killing or demonic sacrifice that occurred that appears
A
to have occurred-
ritualistic murder?
Yes, something along those lines. Of a security guard and the Cyril Selmont.
Cyril?
Yeah, Cyril Selmont. And
Okay.
they were apparently hung up in the meat processing plant, which has been closed in light of the recent events. There's also apparently another story on the side that appears to mention a break-in into the police station, and being, the small, very quiet town that Farmersville is, this is a bit,
Yeah, both are equally newsworthy.
yeah.
That's fair. Hello, Poppers. Eric here with the first mid-roll for our new show, Fictional Heroism. Originally, this was a private game that Sean ran, and he figured it'd be a fun way to have guests on our show via fairly low-impact one-shots. This includes rotating keepers as well, so everyone gets a chance to play or run a game if they wanted to. On that note, we want to welcome our two new friends, Tiffany at Hypnoticast, capital H, capital C, and Vanessa at Alpaca My Books, all lowercase. Please do show them your appreciation for joining the DNP crew. A couple of announcements, and we'll get you back to your first episode of Peach's Pig Mystery. First is that we've recorded the second Gestalheim one-shot following Spanner as he meets new friends and deals with new problems in the mountain village of Snowgloom. Also, the second part of Breaking Point's first mystery, The Nameless Plague.
will be coming soon, so look forward to that. We're working on getting Adventures with Attitudes next arc situated and everyone scheduled, as well as Sid and I's foray into world building. As you can tell, we're all pretty busy here with the podcast, as well as our offline lives as well, and we have a bad habit of not knowing when to relax. I personally love a good book, to chill and relax. Always can't take the time to sit down and read, especially with all the driving we have to do nowadays. Thankfully, there's an answer to that. Audiobooks are a great way to relax while still being up and moving around. And you can join in on that fun by going to audibletrial.com/Dungeons and Pop, capital D, capital A, capital P, and getting a free book on us. Sean and I both suggest books by one Greg Taylor. Sean suggests the noir stylings of Blackjack Justice and Trixie, while I suggest the two-fisted pulp adventures of Toronto's terrific twosome, the Red Panda and Flying Squirrel. Go ahead and laugh, but the Red Panda Adventures is some of the best writing I've come across, with plenty of action, laughs, and suspense. For that matter, Greg Taylor has a audio drama website of his own called DakotaRingTheater.com, so go check it out for Red Panda, Blackjack Justice, and a bunch of other shows he and his crew have put together. They are amazing examples of modern radio dramas, and a big influence on both Sean and I's creative styling. Lastly, no promo this week, unless Sean can make a liar out of me.
Questions still linger. Is Dice Tower Theater a high fantasy audio drama with a narrator, or a heroic audiobook with a full cast, sound effects, and original score? Can it be considered an actual play podcast when you never hear the fall of the dice or the conversation at the table? Listen to Dice Tower Theater on your favorite podcasting platform, and no matter what we are called, we hope you enjoy it.
Right, so, back to the mystery. Enjoy.
Upon arriving at Deja Brew, he's going to tuck the newspaper under his arm, leave the pickup, and enter the shop. He is wearing a simple white t-shirt with some sort of pop culture printed on it, a button-up shirt over that, left unbuttoned so you can see the shirt, and probably some casual slacks, along with some casual comfy shoes.
I'm just picturing Jim from The Office now.
I haven't watched The Office, and
I think Viv would wave and just say, "Hey, got your drink ready. We're just waiting on Peaches to get here."
he spreads his arms at his elbows. You notice the newspaper tucked under one arm. Goes, "Viv, darling, you are but a lifesaver. How much do I owe you?" As he saunters up to the counter.
I had some in the house today.
Ah, bless you. He takes your hand, kisses your knuckles, takes the coffee, but you find a $5 bill in your hand as he leaves to sit down at the table you pointed out.
I think she would kind of laugh and probably pocket the $5 and just shake her head like, all right.
It is a tip, so...
Didn't have to do that. But it is appreciated.
So I'm gonna say that Peaches probably shows up just in time to see, like, the knuckle kiss, and just immediately, like, looks at, like, watches Alistair going to the table, and then makes a beeline straight for Viv, and is just like, so what's happening? What was that about?
Well, he's an old friend of mine, and he has an interesting way of giving me my tip. He's always been like this.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. Okay.
If she looks over, Alistair is currently leaning back in one of the chairs on the two back legs, his feet on the table, but near the edge so his shoes aren't, risking getting the table dirty. And he's got one arm over the back of the chair and he's sipping his coffee with the other.
I think
Peaches is just quietly shipping it.
Oh boy.
I think Viv would probably just say, "Hey, well, I got your order. Just the way you like it. Extra whipped cream. If you want to come sit down, we can sit and have a chat about this, because I think all the others had the same kind of dream we did."
Thank you so much. I really needed this morning. And yeah, that's weird that we all had the same dream.
Oh, sweetheart.
I kind of thought so too.
Weird doesn't begin to describe the world that we are going to enter.
At that moment, an extra chair on the side pulls itself out of the out, and you hear it creak a little, like something just sat.
Alistair stares at the chair. Coffee halfway to his lips.
I don't think we have ghosts here.
Wesley looks at Viv, looks at himself, then looks at his giant glass that's almost more sugar than coffee, then looks at the empty seat, wheels turning in his head like he's considering something to do, no matter how stupid it might be.
The question I have, Alistair addresses the empty chair, is are you a welcome or unwelcome addition to our little tete-a-tete?
We rolled to read a bad situation.
Go ahead.
Alright.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you mind if I do that too?
Let's see, can I give you the whole list?
Oh. Let's see.
I don't know, I got an 8.
I got an 8 as well.
Alright, so you both got a question each from the read a bad situation list. Do you have the I'd recommend having the reference sheet out if you...
Yeah.
If that's not... so read a bad situation should be on the first page.
Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
And I'm going with what's the best way to protect the victims.
Fair.
Which is to say, my friend and her friends.
It's like, the note appears, the dangers you haven't noticed yet is that, I assume, Alistair set the newspaper down?
He was waiting until everyone sat down, and I hadn't heard that yet. I apologize, though, I did have an ear off because my mother was trying to talk to me about something. But
It's okay.
he was going to wait to do that, rather dramatically, once everyone sat down and they started the little meeting.
Yeah, okay. So you do not notice there are no dangers you haven't noticed, and the best way to protect the victims, would likely be to just, since there are no dangers, to just carry on.
Okay.
Okie dokie. I think Viv would probably grab her drink and sit down at the head of the table and just say, "Alright, so we all had a really weird dream, and there's some obviously weird things happening. Didn't realize the circus was back in town, Alistair."
Nor I, dearest. And he slaps the newspaper down and kind of slides it to the center, giving it a little spin flourish. So, as it ends, it has turned 180 and she can read it. The headline, however, is most distressing.
I think she would read it and just
I'm also wondering if the sidebar story has anything to do with the headline or perhaps our guest. He looks at the empty chair.
I think she'd probably look at that and just go, "Oh, Lord. I thought I left all this stuff behind."
No, I don't think the Lord has anything to do with this.
The headline mentions a pork factory, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. Which means no spoilers, shush. Alright. But, yeah. So, do you want to read the headline?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I would think she would probably read the headline out loud.
Alright. Everyone except Wesley rolled investigate a mystery.
Except Wesley?
Nah, alright. Wesley can roll it too.
Alright, let's see.
Ooh,
You got a 9.
I missed.
The price of pork.
Oh, but hey,
The
experience.
price of pork is down. That's you managed to just get distracted by that on the sidebar.
I got an 8.
I also got an 8.
Alright, so you should be able to ask a question from the investigative mystery. So yeah. Hold one and feel free to go.
What happened here?
There was a. Which store are you asking about? The sidebar or the main one?
Probably the main one.
All right, the main one. Apparently, the youngest of the Selmont has been brutally murdered in a ritualistic sacrifice of some kind. He was hung up on a meat hook, and satanic symbols appear to have been written on the walls of that part of the meat packing plant with various demonic things. There is a general. It's like the plant has been closed, and it's quite unusual, and it's all quite unusual and strange.
Isn't it always?
Of course. So.
Sorry, that was not interjection. That was me checking my mic.
So yes, who's next?
Leslie is going to read the sidebar because I know symbolism when I see it, Lizard.
Yes. What?
And I am going to ask what is being concealed here.
You remember a story about how old is Wesley?
He's in his 20s, I think.
Okay.
Somewhere between 22 and 25. I left the range there to be vague about my circus background, so.
Wesley was probably potentially incredibly young, but you do remember a story way back. It's like that that happened in the town, and apparently you don't know why and you don't quite know how, but you're pretty sure that whatever went missing was had something to do with that happenstance.
Well, what was the story of that happened back then, though?
You were very young, but you could almost certainly look it up if you look up more details if you wanted to find it. You just know that you're just remember sort of seeing a few just randomly memorized or something, or a few numbers, and you managed to notice some on the empty container that is depicted on the newspaper.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm probably solving the crossword puzzle on the back while they're reading the headline and the sidebar.
It's like you inexplicably
6-letter word for.
It's like you're all right. So is that everyone who got to roll? Everyone who's got a hold on the investigative mystery? Oh yes. Go ahead. What are you asking?
I guess my question would be, I don't really know what fits, but I guess where did it go?
Where did it go? Well, the person mentioned the club Selmont. You're pretty sure there are a few of those. There's more to that family than just that one poor fucker. That or it might still be at the meatpacking facility.
Whatever it is.
You know, the age-old trope of returning to the crime scene. So, yes, So, have we gotten all of the questions asked?
Well, yeah, because I missed, so.
I think so. All the ones we could ask.
Alright, so, what's your next move?
Should we go talk to the family? Or should we just go check things out for ourselves before the police get around and clean everything all up?
Leslie kind of rubbed his face and goes, I had another dream before the other dream. It was like a bunch of pigs having an existential crisis, and then something about a bloodline. I think it may have something to do with emotions to the sidebar.
Well, then we should start there.
Alright, so you're going to stop by the police station? Or something like that?
Alistair's gonna put slap his hand on the table, go, ah! Kelp!
I think Viv would just start laughing and rub her eyes okay, so are we wanting to go to the police station? Do we want to go try the family? Or do we want to just go there and check things out? Alistair, are you really doing a word search right now? Or crossword?
So he looks up. It's like, huh? What? Oh, sorry, dear. I was distracted by the puzzle on the back of the newspaper while you were reading the headline. What are we doing? He sips his coffee, looking a little sheepish.
I think that Vivian would probably just catch him up and explain what's going on, just to summarize everything for him.
Does the break-in at the police sound familiar to me? Since it's... I know I read it when I was investigating a mystery, but since it was being relayed back to me by Vivian, maybe it sounds a little different, and maybe it'll click something, I don't know.
I thought Wesley's the one who got that.
Well, since Wesley mentioned it to Vivian, I thought maybe Vivian mentioned it to me.
Ah, okay. Well...
As in, maybe this is related too, but who knows?
I'm
reaching, so, you know.
I don't think the circus was in town that day.
Okay. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Quite literal in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we could possibly speak to the next of kin of the poor fellow who got the pork cutlet treatment, shall we say. But it would require some... He just kind of steeples his fingers together and gives a sly grin. Thought on how to approach it. Alternately, going to where there are police doing an active investigation, I think we would not get as much done there. Currently, anyway.
I think we should follow Wesley's dream, but we could also split up, and that way we'll cover more ground.
Do we want to split the party this early?
Yeah, well, I mean...
Wesley smiles for a second, and then he realizes which stream he's talking about. It's like solemn nod.
What dream was this again?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I saw like these pigs, but they looked like I don't know. It was like look like people, and then there was sound of machinery, and then it was I had this thought it was like a bloodline ended or something, like something was destroyed. It was right before the other dream with the
circus?
Yeah.
2 questions, my dear fellow. 1, what did you eat right before going to bed? And 2, a wider question for you all. In the second dream, when we walked through the tent door flap, did any of you happen to fall into a meat grinder before waking up in your bed?
I think Vivian would probably shudder and just kind of nod her head, just like, yeah, it was pretty awful. And I mean, I only had some hot Cheetos before I went to bed, but
I had bratwurst. He shudders.
Yes, I think I'm going to have a pork light diet after this little adventure is finished. Unfortunately, my less than subtle old friend who called us together is likely pointing us toward the meat packing plant. If the end of our collective dreamscape adventure is any indication.
At that moment, the chair, the empty chair, creaks and then slams back into place.
That's going to make even Alistair jump, I think.
Yeah.
And he's going to give a resigned, mildly annoyed sigh through his nose. He looks at Viv. Dear, do you happen to have an aspirin, Tylenol, shot of whiskey?
I think she would kind of laugh and go behind the counter to go grab him some aspirin. Just say, I can't give you that kind of drink here, but hopefully this helps.
One can hope, and thank you, darling. He takes the aspirin once Viv returns. So, he looks at the crew. If my 2 cents is worth anything, I do believe our best course of action would be the meatpacking plant, as I said earlier. The dream that we shared just feels too much of a direction pointing that way, especially when it's combined with our fellow's pig dream beforehand. But I imagine that since we'll be piling into my pickup, I am but the chauffeur. I shall go with the group on this one.
So above table, are we wanting to split the party and head 2 different directions? Like group go to the police station and group go to the big plan, or go talk to the family?
As you say, above table, I'm not sure splitting the party would be a good idea. Then again, that's just the role player in me. D&D. Don't split the party.
No, I know that's kind of where I'm unsure of.
But it would give us a wider, swath of things to do. The question then would be who goes with who.
Since Peaches is all about like following your gut and following your dreams, she would go with Wesley wherever Wesley feels is appropriate to go.
Okay. I think maybe we should split the party. I mean, part of me is like, I know we shouldn't, but the other part of me is like, yeah.
Like, character-wise, I think Viv would probably just follow Alistair.
Shenanigans. Okay, so...
Alright.
So who's going where?
But...
Well, I do believe in this case, Alistair and Viv will end up going with the meatpacking plant, which would leave Peaches and Wesley to take care of the Cyril's family. I can't remember his last name. But if there's something about a bloodline ending, maybe we should look into the person who was killed.
Yeah, I think that...
Could we, do Google his name or anything like that?
That is true.
Kind of look at his Facebook or something, social media or whatever.
That is something we could do. I think that might be something Wesley would think to try to do, since he's the indie, since he has that connection to computers with being the indie game artist. Lizard, what should I?
Just be a bad situation, or?
I too have a question for Lizard.
Aye.
Let Sean do first.
What would I roll to just Google search this guy?
I mean, I don't think you'll turn up much. He's just sort of his family is kind of old. They might on the older side of things. They might not be as technologically capable. So you might get old records on them, but aside from that,
I think that Wesley would actually suggest he and Peaches go check out the police station, as we're the most likely members of the group not to have an active police record that anyone knows about.
You're unlikely to have a record at all.
Well, I have a shotgun and I hunt monsters. I'm just saying there's nothing that has been tied to my character.
True enough.
In Alistair's line of work, if you have a police record, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you done fucked up. It's okay. But I was more poking fun at Peaches.
But Wesley doesn't know.
I mean, it's not a fairly big place.
You say that now, but I know you, Lizard.
Speaking of, this actually ties into my question either way. The Spooktacular gets paraphernalia, which is just an absolute shit ton of things. But
yes, your pockets are literally full of them at all times.
Indeed, including costume accessories. Like, say, perhaps something that might help 2 people pass as reporters for a non-existent magazine or web presence.
I suppose, yeah. You'd have some props that you could probably make do with. Yes.
I mean, I'm sure the show has put on some skits, so there is a wide variety of different kind of accessories and props and such. Useful for, other things, but mostly for the skits for the show. And upon hearing this, Alistair just grins and says, "Lovelies, I'll be right back in just a moment." And he gets up and kind of flows his way out of the coffee shop to his truck. And he will come back with 2 fake reporter IDs.
All right.
For us, I'm guessing?
Uh-huh. If you're going to the police station, you can go under the guise of reporters, doing some investigation for the headline that had been reported.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were going to the...
We were splitting up, and it sounded like Peaches and Wesley were going to do
the police station.
I mean, if you want Peaches and Wesley to go to the meatpacking plant, that's fine too.
No. The confusion was that Tiff asked if the IDs were for you and her, and you said yes.
Oh.
We're going to the police station, which is me and Wesley.
Right, that's me being a doofus and mixing the voices up again. I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, good.
It's embarrassing to get voices mixed up, and I feel especially embarrassing that I'm getting two lady voices mixed up.
It's okay. Like, voices are hard when, like, you're first meeting people. When we were doing all, like, the character creation stuff, I just stared at, like, everyone's names to see who lit up with which voice that I would remember.
That's what I was trying to do.
That's pretty much what I was doing.
Okay, so yeah, the fake passes are for Peaches and Wesley for their investigation.
Gotcha.
You and I going to the meatpacking plant. That
We're just gonna try to be sneaky? Or do you have any police officer outfit?
Yeah, no, that one would. Well, I mean, yeah, I probably do. Let's face it. But it would not be wise to do that while actual police are there.
Yeah.
So Alistair was going to do something a little sneakier.
Gonna shapeshift?
Well, I assume that's how it was going to end up. But metagaming-wise, if I remember correctly, you could go on a tour of a meatpacking plant. I don't know if that's a modern thing anymore, but you used to be able to do that. So we could play up going.
I wonder if they would let us do that though.
Yeah, well, that was.
We could just be going and act like we don't know what's going on. Then you can sneak in from there.
Yeah, that was part of the scam.
Gotcha.
The idea was we were going to go and visit it out of curiosity, play up the fact that we don't know that, a murder had happened here because we're visiting from out of town or something. And, we wanted to see on the tour.
Okay.
Likely we'll be turned away by the cops, and that's when we're going to have to get sneaky.
All right. Sounds like a plan to me.
All right.
Okay.